welcome to our Monday night meeting of November 19th. I'll ask you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I'll ask Jim Daly to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Jim Daly is a friend of mine, and he's a Vietnam vet. That's why I asked him.
Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. We'll get right into it. First on the agenda is the minutes of November 5th. Has the board members read the minutes?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is there any changes?
No.
So we'll make a motion, please, to accept the minutes of November 5th.
So moved to accept the minutes from November 5th.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Next on the agenda is the Chamber of Commerce. I think Carol just had an operation, so Mike Davies, I think, was going to take her spot.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the board. Thanks for having me. I'm here to speak on behalf of President Carol Burak, Chamber of Commerce. She'll be watching from home today, recovering from surgery, so she's in our thoughts, and we all wish her a fast and speedy recovery. I'll be quick on this report because I know we have a packed agenda tonight. We're up to 130 members in the Chamber of Commerce. The Chamber is growing. We just wrapped up a great series of networking events at McQuaid's. One of our newest members, the Federal Allstate Agency, brought some of their agents down there, and they were great. Meeting some of our other folks. We have a new Starbucks in town for those of you that haven't seen it. It's a standalone building, and we have some other new exciting shops getting ready to set up in Lynbrook, and we welcome them to the Chamber once they set up shop in the village. We're looking forward to Santa's arrival on Saturday, November 24th. He'll be at the Earl Avenue parking lot at 8:30 a.m. Typically, Carol's the only one with a direct line to the North Pole, but because she's out, she gave me the number, so I'll give him a call and make sure he's there. And for all those folks coming down, the children get a free movie at the movie theater, free holiday film, so that'll start at 10 o'clock, and they'll walk right over after Santa's done with his festivities. As many of you know, there's a lot of events going on in the village that we're working on in conjunction with the village board. You should have gotten a placard at home. One to make mention of on Sunday, December 2nd is the blessing of the creche, lighting of the menorah. That'll be starting at 5 p.m., so we hope to see all of our villagers down there on Sunday. And then one other project that's really exciting, the Chamber is working with MapTunes, which is the leading Long Island company that puts together the cartoon maps for our downtowns on Long Island. And Lynbrook, we really feel, is at the forefront of being one of the great downtowns. And MapTunes has engaged our chamber to create an online and hard copy map for all of our businesses, and that'll be coming out in the next couple months. So look forward to that as well. And then I just have one other note. The Chamber Board would like me to relay the following regarding the previously proposed Cornerstone project and development in the village generally. So the Chamber Board is very much in favor of a revitalized downtown. No one likes to see abandoned buildings, empty paved over lots, or vacant storefronts. The Chamber recognizes the need for a transit-oriented downtown. However, the Chamber also recognizes that this must be weighed on balance with what is keeping in the spirit of Lynbrook, USA. Mr. Mayor, members of the board, we applaud you for calling this time out to make sure that any project that comes to Lynbrook is done right. We know that you have the village's best interests at heart. You've worked with us at the Chamber, the business owners of this village, day in and day out. We applaud you for that. And we'd like to consider one recommendation. We'd like you to consider one recommendation. A blue ribbon committee that can examine all aspects of this worthy project, including members of the Chamber, business community, parents, school stakeholders, longtime residents, newer residents, and anyone and everyone that can be represented throughout this village. We are one community, and we should all be working to make Lynbrook, USA the best place it can possibly be. What I've seen, or what we've seen over the last couple weeks, is really unfortunate because we are all working towards the same goal. And I applaud you, Mr. Mayor, and the board for sticking it through and making sure that you always do the best for Lynbrook, USA. And with that, I want to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. And regardless of where you're traveling, near or far, get there safe. And if you happen to be in Lynbrook on Saturday, make sure to stop by our local shops because it is Small Business Saturday. Thank you.
Thank you for your input, Mr. Davies, and I will take that under advisement with the rest of the board. Next on the agenda is department reports. With the crowd we have here, I would recommend that we waive department reports. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Unless anybody has any questions on the board? No? Then all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. Next we have surplus material, library computers. John, Robin's not here, is she?
No.
All right, so this is an old...
Yes, Mayor. The library board approved the disposition of several desktop computers. They're all approximately 7 years old.
Okay, so their use, they've served their use. So could I have a motion to accept this declared as surplus?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Next on the agenda is the Capri. Relocation of the hotel license. Tom, why don't you take care of the first part, where it's at the panel? And then if you want, you can do the whole thing if you'd like, or I can do the resolution, because we are, okay?
With pleasure, Mayor. One thing that is interesting on this item, I believe everyone in the rotunda will feel the same way. So what is before the board tonight, and let me just get into a little bit of the history on this. Last year, the board made a determination to set up a panel underneath the village code, pursuant to the village code. Section 78 of the village code deals with hotels, the Capri being one of the hotels here in town. What the board decided to do under the village code was to set up a hearing. There was 5 days of hearings held, and this was under the direction of the late mayor. And a panel was set up consisting of Trustee Emery Reardon, then Deputy Mayor Alan Beach, and then Trustee, now Deputy Mayor Hillary Becker. 5 days of hearings were held with the owners of the Capri Motel, and that panel that was appointed by this board has made a determination pursuant to Village Code Section 7810. And what that determination is a recommendation to the board to adopt a resolution to revoke the Capri's license to act as a hotel. Now, this 51-page document is the findings of the panel that each of the panel members have signed and endorsed. What's before the board tonight is the adoption of a resolution, if you should so choose, as is set forth in the packet at number 9. And Mayor, if you'd like to read that, or if you'd like me to read that, I'd be more than happy to. Let me just explain to the board what happens, and to everyone here in the rotunda, what happens logistically from this point. So if the board does choose to adopt the recommendation of the panel tonight, then the license would be revoked for the Capri to operate as a hotel as of December 21st, 2018. Pursuant to the village code, the owners of the Capri would then have 30 days to appeal that decision, not to the Supreme Court in Mineola, but rather to the zoning board here in Lynbrook. So it would be January 21st would be their end date for that appeal. Okay?
Is that the end date to request for appeal or end date to have the appeal?
The end date to submit their appeal
Okay.
is January 21st, 2019. 30 days after the revocation of the license, which would be December 21st, 2018.
And so, assuming the board passes this resolution, what happens between that December 21st date and the January 2020, whatever the 30 days is from there?
I am sure, well, what happens if the board does adopt this resolution tonight? The resolution would be served on their counsel and then the parties immediately. And because you are still in the window for appeal, they will likely still operate until that January 21st date. And then once that goes, they would likely move quite quickly in their appeal time frame to the zoning board, and it would take its due course from there.
Okay, and then the zoning board
Makes their determination.
would have this special meeting, would have it one of their regular meetings. I guess they decide how they.
That's correct, right.
Okay.
Is there a time frame in which the zoning board has to give their answer?
I can get back to you on that. I'm not sure on that.
Any more questions?
And then once the zoning board makes a decision, is that then final, or, I can't say what the zoning board might decide. If this board were to accept the resolution, the zoning, and they appeal it, the zoning board makes a decision, what are the?
Sure. The avenue after, it would revert to the CPLR. So they would revert to state law, and then theoretically they could have another appeal in Article 78 in the Supreme Court in Mineola. That's their course to take up. But the license would be revoked as of that January 21st date.
If they didn't appeal, that would be the end of it.
That's correct.
Okay.
Good?
Yay.
I'll read it. We, the village board, have reviewed and carefully considered the evidence, the findings of facts, the conclusions of the law, and determination of the three-panel member. We find that there is a sound basis for revocation of the room rental license which the village issued to the Capri Motel. We therefore adopt the determination of the panel as our own, and we now revoke the room rental license issued by the Capri effective December 21st, 2018. I need a motion from the board.
So moved.
Second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Now we can clap.
So now, this will be,
I will,
so Tom, this now gets served this gets served to the, I guess, the owners of the Capri and the.
So the owners of the Capri were represented by council. So
Right.
under the village code, there's a procedure for the immediate service of this upon them. And then,
Okay.
Peter and myself will do that immediately.
all right, that's a good thing now for the village. Next is the cancellation of the public hearing on Cornerstone. I thank you all for being here tonight. As you know, tonight was scheduled public hearing for Terwilliger and Bartone Properties LLC for a petition for inclusion of the property known as 14 St. James Place and municipal parking lot field number 8 at the southwest corner of St. James Place and Earl Avenue in the Arts and Culture Overlay District, order to permit the construction of a 200-unit multi-dwelling. Over the course of the last few weeks, as the board has received and reviewed application material from the applicant, I communicated to the applicant that the application, as currently proposed, is not in keeping with the character of our downtown. We have communicated to the applicant that the contemplated project, as it currently exists, needs to be re-evaluated with regard to the number of aspects, specifically with regard to the height and the unit count. This decision by me and the board was based upon extensive review of the documents submitted and is in keeping with our responsibility to our residents as elected members of the board. Our decision was not based upon incomplete information and inaccurate statements that many have put forth throughout the community unanimously. Rest assured, I, along with the rest of the board, will put the best interests of this village and its residents first. Through council, the applicant was requested to withdraw his application to reevaluate the project in its entirety. The applicant has chosen not to. As a result, this board is procedurally left with no other option to reject the application in its current state and cancel the application without future date. This will afford the applicant an opportunity to reevaluate his application in light of the aforementioned concerns with regard to the size and scope of the proposed project, or withdraw the application at a future date. Is there a motion from the board to cancel the subject application without a future date? I need a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Mr. Mayor, could I just ask a couple of questions? As I don't really quite understand exactly what's going on with this.
We're
proce-
canceling the application. I made a
So-
motion. Did I have a second?
Second.
Okay,
All in
but
fa- good?
can we open the floor for discussion? Normally, you make a motion, and before the vote, you open the floor for discussion.
I
I
have
just
a
have
second.
questions before I can't
You can-
vote unless I can ask a few questions.
What's your question?
So, my question is the applicant pulling the application?
He canceled the application. It's canceled.
So he's pulling the application.
I canceled the application.
But, Mr. Mayor, is that the procedure legally, that the way it's handled? I'm just asking the question, I don't know.
I asked him to reevaluate it. He did not. I am pulling the application.
Is
So
that the
he said the
legal,
applicant didn't
is that
pull
the legal procedure, Ben? Perhaps you could just explain how because I was under the impression that, and again, I'm just asking the questions, just curious. I was under the impression that the application was submitted.
So the application
was submitted, the application was accepted by the village.
was submitted
And then the next step would have been to have a hearing.
to have a public hearing as it was scheduled.
And then after the hearing would be a
Well,
vote.
Can I?
Well, let me just go through my process because,
No, I understand, but.
so after the
but
hearing would be a vote.
May I speak about the procedure
Okay.
in a narrative as opposed to being cross-examined? Allow me to speak.
Just
Mr.
was
Trell,
asking
would you
questions.
please
I
explain
was just
it?
asking questions.
So the usual procedure, as you so aptly stated, is that the applicant submits his application, and then there would be a public hearing. I was advised by the mayor that the board was inclined to have the applicant reevaluate the application based upon the size of the project as it was currently proposed. With that, I reached out to council and advised them that the board would like the applicant to withdraw his application based upon the fact that at this current time, the application as proposed with regard to size and scope was not what they perceived to be in keeping with the village's downtown. I spoke to council. Council, I believe, conveyed that message to his client. I was not a party to that conversation, as I would not expect to be based upon attorney-client privilege. And I was advised by council that the applicant did not wish to voluntarily withdraw the application. With that, the board, their option would be to cancel the application without a date and await either the applicant to take the information that he was given and, I guess, reevaluate the project and change the scope and size, or to present an entirely different project, or to have it out there indefinitely until he, tries to have the board look at this application again, either through a letter and asking them to reconsider the current application.
If I might.
Yes, please.
Up until now, we've been told, residents have been told that you couldn't ask questions until the hearing occurred. Correct?
Well, what the residents, I believe, have been told, and I was at a meeting on October 15th where I mentioned to the village and at the request of the board to explain the procedure and the process, which I just did. Now, there is case law out there that talks about a village board and their predisposition to an application. Okay, so you ask, okay, why does a board decide to cancel an application as opposed to opening the public hearing and having a public hearing and denying it maybe or approving it? Because at that point, once the application is had, even if the board decides to deny the application, the applicant does have the avenue of challenging that denial and bringing what's known as an Article 78 proceeding, at which point whether or not the board was inclined or disinclined to approve the application would be in the hands of a judge to then decide whether or not this board acted arbitrarily or capriciously in its determination. So what the board decided to do as opposed to that was to cancel the application without date. Now, when we talked about the procedure on the October 15th date that I was here, I explained to the public that when a board is predisposed before they have an application, a public hearing opened, there has been cases out there where the courts have reversed based upon the fact that they believe the board disqualified their ability to act in a way that was fair in order to weigh all the evidence before it. There are also other reasons with regard to not entertaining discussion with the public before a public hearing is opened. One of which is the fact that your comments are important. And your comments are important both to the board and to the applicant. How else can an applicant make decisions as to making changes that are necessary to make the project a better fit for the village? And also, how else can a board determine whether or not the project is a good fit for the village? So that's number one. And when you make those statements without the benefit of a public record, those statements are lost in the sense that they cannot be utilized or serve as the basis for any record by this board in any subsequent litigation. So what does that mean? When there's a record on appeal for an Article 78 proceeding, what you're allowed to put forth is the hearing transcript of the public hearing, the comments from the public, the responses from the board, the presentation by the applicant, every document that has been submitted as a part of the application, any document that was created with regard to that application by the village by way of its own experts. So those comments, in anticipation of a public hearing, cannot be utilized by a board to either approve and or deny an application. That's the first reason. The second reason is like I stated earlier, if an applicant believes that a board is predisposed one way or another, and the applicants are viewing this, I'm sure, tonight, anything that is said in a public forum that's not a part of the public record at a public hearing, they may utilize as an argument to say that there was a predisposition on the part of the board either one way or another, okay? And that's important to note because courts have in the past said that boards that deny an application solely upon public outcry, the judges have found, or courts have found, that that is arbitrary and capricious, and that is a standard that's utilized by a court.
So tonight, it would be inappropriate for people to speak out against this project or for people to speak in favor? Where do we stand? I guess I'm confused.
Procedurally speaking, there is no application to discuss because the board...
So people are free to speak freely as opposed to in favor of it or against it?
Well, it's still, when I say there's no public hearing yet, okay? But the application has not been withdrawn formally by the applicant.
I guess my question is, if people speak in favor or if people speak against, there's not going to be a legal jeopardy involved.
I didn't necessarily say that. I said, I didn't say that.
So if there's a legal jeopardy involved, there should be no conversation tonight, either pro or against.
My legal recommendation would be there should be no pro or against, yes.
So what are we exactly voting on then? I'm not sure what I'm voting on.
I think you're voting on canceling the application for this.
You can't say I think. You're our legal counsel here. You have to tell us for sure. What are we voting on?
You're voting on canceling the application this evening,
Okay,
trustee.
so we're
yes.
voting on canceling
Without a future date.
the application. Is that even necessary? Is a vote to cancel the application even necessary? Is that part of the procedures of this?
Yes, because the hearing was noticed for this evening. So there was a public notice in the newspaper, and there were public mailings that were made by the applicant as part of our procedure. So technically, it was scheduled, well, not technically, it was scheduled for this evening.
Okay, so what we're voting on is we're voting on canceling the hearing for the Cornerstone.
Yes, you are.
Nothing more than that.
Nothing more than that.
Okay,
Without a future date.
without a future date.
Yes.
But it could come up in a future point in time.
Well, it could if the applicant listens to the public and listens to this board and heard that the project as proposed was not a good fit and he decides to tweak it and resubmit something or tweaks the current application, then it could come back before this board, which is why I caution the board and the public against speaking out either in favor or against the application.
Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
With that, I think I got a second.
Yes, you did.
Second, yes.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And based upon this calculation, there is no public hearing, such neither comments nor favor nor against will be responded to by this board. And as I said, this board will listen to all proposals that will help us stabilize our tax base. I am always looking for the opportunities to lower our taxes. That's one of my jobs as a mayor. We can't continue to keep increasing taxes. I sit back and wait. I waited for all the information to come in before we were able to determine the application. I felt the people should hear it. That's why we have a hearing. But people anonymously placed flyers full of incorrect information throughout our village as a scare tactic. To disagree is fine, but misinformation does not serve to better Lynbrook. Lynbrook is a community of caring, respectful people. You are the same people who fill the community chest and the food pantries. But to divide our village with lies is just wrong. When we received all the documents, we evaluated all the information and made the right decision. That's what I am elected to do, and I did it along with the other board members. I hear every day that taxes are too high, young people can't afford to buy houses in our village because of taxes. I have an investment in our village. My wife and I raised my 2 sons. Lynbrook is a great place to raise a family. My children attended Lynbrook schools. They got involved in the schools. I got involved in the village. And I am in this village every day with my grandchildren. For the people to think that I would do something that would hurt this village is wrong and disappointing. I want our village to flourish. And in closing, I would also like to apologize for the lawyer at last meeting became upset and spoke with disrespect to our residents. He will not return. I will not allow our residents to be disrespected, and I apologize for that. And with that, I'll ask any board members for comment. Deputy Mayor Becker?
Is this
You can-
comment on general?
You can, on past situations.
Okay. Well, first.
About this project, maybe, or whatever you want,
Oh, okay.
because of what
But
transpired.
I thought the councilor just said we shouldn't comment. I just don't want to put myself in a legal jeopardy.
No, I know. I don't think the mayor spoke to the specifics of the project. I think the mayor was just making a statement.
Yeah,
Like I
I
said,
mean,
my counsel to everybody on the board is to neither speak in favor or against the application, but you can.
Make a statement if you'd like. I mean, I think the mayor's inviting everybody on the board to do so. So, a statement,
okay.
not about the specifics of the project, but maybe about the procedure or whatever.
Okay. Didn't have anything prepared. But I guess I would just like to thank everybody for coming here tonight. I think it's wonderful to see this turnout. I think it's wonderful when we see our residents engaged like this, and I think we should continue to stay engaged. It's very important that we analyze and suggest to this board what it is that we would like as residents. Of course, I think we're all pro-growth. I'd like to think we're all pro-growth, and certainly moving this village forward in the right direction is something that we're all interested in, and I look forward to doing that with this board. Thank you.
You're welcome. Trustee Reardon, do you have something to say?
Yes, I do have something to say. Thank you, Mayor. I have been a resident of this village for 14 years and have chosen to raise my family here. Additionally, I have lived my entire life in Lynbrook and Bronze. That combination has helped me gain a great perspective as to what makes a special place, what makes Lynbrook a special place. My role on the board has brought me in contact with many residents of Lynbrook, and it has given me the opportunity to have discussions of vast array of topics with them. And there are two things I am hearing increasing in frequency. One, how it continues to get more expensive to live here. And two, how many children are opting to move away given that burden and the lack of viable local options. As a board member, the residents have entrusted me a responsibility in me to do what is best for Lynbrook. Not what may be the first, not what may be the fastest, but simply what is the best for Lynbrook. I take this responsibility extremely seriously. Another part of my duties is to find a way to increase the tax base in order to alleviate the tax burden on our hardworking middle-class families. While this may not have been the best project, it does not mean we stop listening, because listening means just that, listening. In no way means waging a misinformation campaign full of cowardly attacks and anonymous mailers with all in one intended goal: deceiving residents. There have been widely circulated lies about impact on schools, the impact on taxes, the impact on traffic, the impact on parking, the impact on real estate values, lies about the use of unsafe, non-union labor, lies about workforce housing and what type of residents would be here. My job on this board is to look and evaluate on facts, not lies. Now, having do that, the size and the scope of this project was too big and could change the character of the surrounding area. That is why the board and I have said no. I'm very proud of Mayor Allen Beach and this board. Transparency, we have been transparent this whole process. Based on our final decision, what I consider the two most important items: facts and the best interests of our residents. And I thank you all for coming here this evening. Thank you, Mayor.
Trustee Hawkhurst, comment?
Yeah, since 1998, a span of 30 years, the assessed values of Lynbrook have dropped by more than $77 million. Since 1998, a span of over 30 years, the assessed values of Lynbrook property has dropped by more than $77 million, from a high of over $229 million to the $152 million it is today, a drop of over 35% that has increased the tax burden on our residents. As we drive down our roads and see stores that are empty or stores that come and go, it continues a downward trend of the assessed valuation of village properties. How do we reverse this trend and work to ease the tax burden on our residents? Through smart, valued, and logical development in our village. The board is elected and tasked with the responsibility of listening to both the residents and potential development ideas. This board thoroughly reviews projects and documentation, talks with residents and impacted neighbors, and takes all these views into consideration when making any decision that impacts our village. Each member of this board lives in this village, raises a family here, so we are well aware of the everyday struggles our families, seniors, and veterans face. Each and every decision this board makes takes all this into consideration. Looking back at the history of this board, you have a board that is open to ideas and facts. We are a village that has to be open to listening to proposals and being transparent with the residents on their ideas before this village. If you take the time to look at the history of this board on development, each member does not come to decisions quickly, but only after a thorough review of all the facts. The board has been one that is looking to move ahead with smart development in this village and not rush into anything based on scare tactics or misinformation. We look at the most recent development in the movie theater and the success that it has been. When I came onto this board, they presented a theater that was over 3,200 seats large. Our current theater is half that size and has less seats than the theater it replaced. Through this board's discussions and decisions, we have a beautiful theater that has attracted people to our village and hasn't attracted any issues with parking or other problems that were part of the misinformation that was put out during the process. We look at the success of the North Shore Physician Building. Both of these projects came about after reviewing the facts and making decisions that were in the best interests of our village. We as a board will always listen, but listening does not mean everything is a done deal or being approved. It just means we listen, and we listen to all. Will everyone always agree? Again, as we see with the theater, no. But this board has at its core the determination to do what's best for our village. Developers will always pitch projects, and that's a good thing, because the moment developers bypass Lynbrook, Lynbrook as a whole has lost. The key is finding those opportunities that are best for this village and proceeding when that is the case. We have seen what poor development can do when the scourge of housing not in character of our neighborhood has always hung over us. Those are not good projects, and this board stands united in opposing the further spread of those poor development choices. Mayor Alan Beach and the board has been transparent on this process as any other process regarding development in the history of the village. By posting all information on the village webpage, the mayor even asked for financial disclosure forms from all board members, and all but one provided them. What is there to hide by not providing them? But this board will always do what's in best of this village. Thank you.
Trustee Baccio, do you have a comment?
Yes, I do, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. I want to start by thanking all of you who took the time out of your busy lives to be here with us tonight. I also want to thank all those people who emailed me, texted, stopped by in the street, stopped me on the ball field, and stopped by my home to voice your thoughts in support or in opposition to the proposed Cornerstone project. I further wanted to thank those people who had no position one way or another and just wanted to find out more about what the project or the application process was about. Please understand that whether you are a local merchant, a parishioner, community activist, or simply my neighbor, all of your voices matter. As you know by now, the board has decided to reject the proposed application as we felt the project was too big. That said, it is also important to understand that as a trustee, I'm mandated to make decisions that are predicated upon one guiding principle, and that principle is what is in the best interest of the village. Of course, in order to arrive at such decisions, many factors must be considered. Many voices must be heard, at the end of which process a cost-benefit analysis must be undertaken. As a 13-year resident of Lynbrook, it has become glaringly obvious that our village is in need of improvements to our infrastructure. Whether it's the dilapidated train station, the need for additional parking, empty storefronts, or enhancement to our parks, we have to face the fact that our village must be planning for the future. If we fail to do so, we will simply be left behind. It is in this spirit that the board should be carefully considering smart, practical, and needs-based development that is mindful of the future, as well as the implications that any such development may have on our local economy, tax base, schools, and overall quality of life within Lynbrook. I believe that this board is wholly committed to these principles. Finally, notwithstanding my gratitude for all those who have made their voices heard, I would be remiss if I did not mention my utter disappointment with some individuals in our village who have behaved in a less than respectable manner during the Cornerstone application and review process. To this point, while we all certainly welcome any input as a community, bullying, intimidation on social media, as well as anonymous, intentionally misleading information should not be tolerated. As parents, we teach our children to be respectful, courteous, and possess good character. In fact, these principles are posted all over the signs that we have character counts throughout Lynbrook. However, when we resort to the aforementioned deceitful and outright disingenuous tactics, we disappoint our neighbors and, of course, set bad examples for our children. As Lynbrook residents, we must do better. Accordingly, I urge everyone to make your voices be heard. However, when you do so, please remember to be respectful of your neighbor and be guided by what's in the best interest of the village, not your own personal or political aspirations. Thank you.
Thank you, Trustee Baccio. And it's kind of ironic Next on the agenda is to set a date for a public hearing. Proposed local law, Chapter 252. Would you like to explain?
Yes, Mayor. This is actually a very simple modification to the village code. Chapter 252, Section 32 is written in connection with prohibited uses in commercial districts. And the board is contemplating, and the public hearing will be about, restricting self-storage facilities in just commercial districts in the village.
Thank you. And we'll set the date. I need a motion to set the date for December 10th.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next on the agenda is the holiday parking waiver. We're going to relax the parking for Thanksgiving from Wednesday, November 21st through Sunday, November 25th. Have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. And also, might as well do the whole thing then, right? Need another motion for Sunday, December 2nd through Monday, December 10th.
So moved.
That's for Hanukkah, correct? And also for Monday, December 24th to Tuesday, January 1st. So I need a motion for both of those. And can I have
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Next on there is Vulcan tree sale. The Vulcan, they usually do their Christmas tree sale at the firehouse. They very kindly waived permit, and Vulcan Company requests the board to consider waiving the permit. I don't have a problem. Does any other member have a problem?
No,
Fire
Mayor.
department's
No,
very
Mayor.
good to us, so I'll need a
We've done
motion.
this in the past, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Need a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Now, this is,
Banner.
next is the, a motion, not a motion, the Titans is asking to put the lacrosse banner across Atlantic Avenue for 4 weeks. Did we get dates? I was looking for dates on this. I didn't,
The 3rd to the 21st.
3rd to the 21st?
It was modified from 4 weeks to 3 weeks.
Okay, I don't have, I was concerned about Christmas. So I need a motion to accept, or to allow them to put their banner across Atlantic Avenue from December 2nd to December 21st.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Next on that is bills. Trustee Baccio.
Yes, Mayor. I move that the bills listed on the abstract of audited vouchers be paid as soon as they have been duly audited by the majority.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much. Next is good and welfare. I'll start, Trustee Reardon. Okay. Give it to John, please. Pass this down to John.
Are we done?
Do you have anything for good and welfare, Trustee
I
Reardon?
actually did leave my wonderful running series list
Okay.
actually in the other room. So what I'm going to say tonight is that I hope that everyone has a wonderful Thanksgiving and looks forward to spending this time with their families. It is the start of the holiday season, and it is such a wonderful time of the year, and I look forward to seeing everyone at all the holiday celebrations that are starting as of this Saturday. You know, of course, I'll be the first one there to see Santa, because, you know, I got to find out what the deal is. You know, my kids will be asking. So I look forward to seeing everyone around the village this upcoming next few weeks, and enjoy your Thanksgiving. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Trustee Reardon. Trustee Hawkhurst.
Yeah, just a couple things. The first is the Community Chest. So the Community Chest is an organization in Lynbrook that helps out, it accepts donations and helps out people in Lynbrook in need. So with the holiday season, with Thanksgiving coming up, Hanukkah, and the Christmas holidays coming up, if there is either a family in need or someone you know that's in need, please have them contact Village Hall, and they can put them in touch with the community chest to see what can be, what help can be given. It's a totally anonymous service. The village board, Village Hall is not aware of anything that these people get or anything that is said or done, but they will put them in touch with the community chest group, and it's just a great organization that helps out just people in our village. So, if you do know someone who's in need, who's kind of struggling at this holiday season, please have them contact Village Hall to get in touch with the community chest. It's a great organization. A couple things upcoming at the library. On Saturday, December 8th, we have Holidays Around the World with Beth and Scott and Friends. It's a concert for all ages. The concert starts at 2:30, doors open at 2:15. It's a free concert with no registration. Then we have Holiday Breakfast is Calling to make apple, cranberry, and cinnamon scones. Wednesday, December 19th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Again, it's a free event, but registration is required on the library website. And then the last, we have Baby and Me Yoga coming up over December. So those are Wednesdays, December 5th, 12th, and 19th. The age of the child is from birth to pre-walker. It's from 10 to 11 a.m. and no registration is required. And again, it's a free event. And then this past weekend, I was here with a number of people. We were selling our popular Breakfast with Santa tickets. So the Breakfast with Santa is coming up. And Pat, what day is the breakfast? December 5th? December 8th. So have any of the seating sold out at this time?
We still have a few tickets left, but they're going very fast.
Yeah, so, as of that morning, we had almost sold out the 10:30 seating. The 8:30 and 12:30 have a few tickets left, so please, if you're interested in attending Breakfast with Santa, it's a great event held at the Knights of Columbus. The kids love it. They get to see Santa. There's a magic show. They decorate cookies. There's a lot to do that day, but please get down to the rec center to buy your tickets. Tickets are $12 a piece, and again, a great event for all families. And I just want to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and a happy Hanukkah, and to enjoy the holiday season. Thank you.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Becker.
Thank you, Mayor. It was a wonderful Veterans Day, and thank you for everybody that was able to attend the ceremonies and to attend the Doughboy. It was a wonderful event, and it's always great to recognize our veterans, and it's because of our veterans and, of course, those that paid the ultimate price that we get to enjoy our freedoms like we are doing here tonight. And our wrestling program is about to kick in. Any young people between the ages of 6 and 12, maybe even 5 and 12, depends on how tough that 5-year-old is, are more than welcome to come down to our first wrestling session, which will be Saturday, December 1st at 9:30 at the Lynbrook Kindergarten Center. So we welcome everybody, and we're looking forward to our 41st wrestling season. A shout out to the varsity football team. They did a great job. They had a rough regular season, but they did really well in the playoffs. They actually beat a team that they lost to during the season, Lawrence, and that was a big victory for them. Unfortunately, they lost in the semifinals, but congratulations to Coach LaCicero and all the varsity football players. And last but not least, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Thanksgiving and a happy Hanukkah. And as always, avoid the perils of Black Friday. Please shop and dine locally. Thank you, Mayor.
Trustee Baccio.
Yes, Mayor. In the Recreation Department, as you probably get a sense, we got a lot of things going on. The Adult Pizza and Paint Nights, Friday, November 30th from 7:30 to 9:30, and that $25 includes all materials. We have yoga and Zumba classes. The Rec Center offers a variety of Zumba classes and yoga. You can call the Rec Center at 599-8000 for more information about when they're offered. You can also check out this Saturday's Turkey Burner class when you can Zumba for 90 minutes, 5 minutes for the class, and collecting non-perishable foods items for the OLP pantry. There's a holiday donation drop-off from now until December 17th. The Rec Center will be some unwrapped toys for the Toys for Tots program and food for the OLP food pantry. And as we mentioned earlier, Santa arrives on Earl Avenue, parking lot field number 8. And this is this Saturday after Thanksgiving at 8:30 a.m. Children's movie will be shown at 10 a.m. at the new Regal Movie Theater. The movie is still a mystery, as it is every year. Is that correct, Mayor?
Yes.
Okay. This event is sponsored by the Lynbrook Chamber of Commerce, so we thank everyone in the chamber for your continuous generosity. There's a holiday celebration on Atlantic Avenue, Sunday, December 2nd, from 5 to 8 p.m. Tree lighting, blessing of the creche, and menorah lighting at 5:30 p.m. There's the winter program registration. That's Incorporated Village Residents starts on November 26th at 6 p.m., and the unincorporated non-resident starts on Thursday, November 29th at 8 a.m. All registrations are online at the rec desk. Wonderland of Lights. This is Saturday, December 15th. You could take a horse and wagon ride throughout Grice Park's Wonderland of Light and meet Santa and his elves. Registration will be online beginning December 2nd for Lynbrook residents. I also want to congratulate the Lynbrook Titans football program on another successful year. We've seen just a tremendous improvements over the years, and particularly one of our 7-8 group made it to the Tier 1 playoffs, so congratulations to that group and all the Titan groups who played well in the playoffs and continue to show what it is to be Titans. And as we have our mantra, we are Titans, we are family, and there's nothing better than spending those days in practice and then together with the families on the field, all united for the same cause, to have fun and teach our boys what it means to be part of a team and something bigger than themselves. So congratulations to the Titan program. Happy Thanksgiving and happy Hanukkah to everyone.
I could just jump in one last thing? Yeah. I forgot one thing. Just a shout out and a congratulations to our Lynbrook Police Department, our award-winning Lynbrook Police Department, for once again, they won the Gold Award in the 2018 Community Traffic Safety Awards Program from the AAA, the American Automobile Association of America. So congratulations.
Where's Joe?
Joe is right there.
All right. Nice job, Joe. Thank you. Just, you know, I just have a couple of things. Brian, anything from the building department? Could you come down? And then there's a couple of things coming up before we go to the public.
Mr. Mayor, I didn't have anything prepared, but...
No, just if there's anything that, Starbucks is opened, I know that.
Well, Starbucks is open.
Finally.
The Dollar Tree, believe it or not, a lot
Dollar
of people
Tree
used
is a
to
big
see it.
thing,
That Dollar Tree was pretty big, believe it or
my
not.
wife
A
was
lot of
shopping
people
there
were
already.
curious about that one.
This is very nice, okay.
Okay.
That's it, thank you.
And then pretty soon we should have that coffee shop opening up in Phillips Plaza.
Great, thank you very much. Philip, do you have anything with trees, the leaves pickup?
Hello, Mr. Mayor. Yes, we do. We have our tree planting that's going to be starting next week.
Okay.
It's supposed to start this week. Some 180 trees we planted. It's just a little too wet to pull the trees out of the nursery.
Okay.
It dries out a little more. Sanitation changes for Thursday. You know, if your trash gets picked up on Thursday, it'll be Friday, and then when Friday gets pushed back to Saturday.
Okay,
And unfortunately, we did load the salt shed up, and the sanders had to go out last week.
unfortunately, yes.
So it's the season, so we'll try to be out there every night when we have to, and always give us a call if you got any questions.
Thank the guys very much.
Mr. Mayor,
Just one quick thing,
okay,
Phil.
okay.
You mentioned with the tree planting.
Yes.
Right, so I'm assuming, and we discussed earlier, so we've hit the not the limit, but we've hit the trees that we're going to be planting in this cycle.
Correct.
So if a resident would like a free curbside tree, can they still get one?
Still get an application, we'll get you an application to drop one off, or we'll mail it to you, or just give us a call, or it's also online as a link to our, the website for the village website. We bid our trees out, and we pick our trees like at the end of September, so once that contract quantity is set, it's hard to change it without a involved change order. So the next planting that will be in spring, late April, early May of 19. We get on the list now. We're ready to go again. If you got a question.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor, I neglected to also thank our cheerleading program, which is part of the Titans football.
You can't forget
those
them.
girls, they do a terrific job, and that program is so taken off, and we really want to congratulate all the coaches and the young ladies who give it and come out every week and support our football players. So congratulations to them as well.
And Patrick, anything else?
Good evening, Mayor and the Board. I want to thank you. I've been asked by Lynbrook Roller Hockey to issue you a plaque
Oh, very
for
nice.
for your dedication to Lynbrook Roller Hockey. And the dedication says, "This plaque is to say thank you for over 9,000 youth hockey players and their families. Because of your efforts, Lynbrook Roller Hockey was created, and we are celebrating 20 years, still the fastest game in town. Patrick Stapleton, President, Lynbrook Roller Hockey League, 2018.
As they say, you build it, they will come. That's very nice. Thank Patrick and Steve Pyatt. Very nice. Thank you. Just, wow, very nice. I think we're going to open it up to the floor now, right? I think we're ready. Oh, yeah, one more thing. One more thing. Joe, could you come down for a minute? Chief Neve, I'm sorry. Do you have something to say?
Yes,
Well, let me say something first. All right. This will be, after 41 years, this will be Chief Neve's last village board meeting. He's retiring.
thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and I just want to take this time to say I put my heart and soul into this position, and I think the police department has got to be the best department in the state of New York. And the men and women are fantastic, but you know, I see good things and I see bad things in my career. And today I saw something that appalled me and a very upsetting. People carrying signs that say, "Stop the corruption." And I know there's no truth to that on that board, because most of you have the highest ethics and with the highest integrity, and you have the heart of the village in mind. And I think it's disgusting that somebody would allege or try to infer that you're dishonest. And that really, really did not take well with me. And with that, thank you.
Thanks, Joe. With that, I'm going to open it to the floor. Good and welfare. Someone fell. You want to read it, Michael? I see Harold, Mr. Reese.
Yeah, Harold Reese.
Just to remind everybody, there's a 5-minute limit.
I'll be a lot less than that. But
Okay. Is
good
there a
evening,
clock?
Mayor and the board. My name is Harold Reese Jr., a former resident here in Lynbrook and a current commercial property owner. I would like to commend the mayor and the board for joining other villages in the county in getting our fair share of sales tax revenues, monies that we deserve. Again, a job well done. Secondly, I applaud the mayor in his efforts on Western Sunrise Highway, now called Car Row, Automobile Row. It took a long time for this to come, and it certainly adds to the village and school tax base. The Reese family has roots in this village since 1938. I can remember traveling to Lynbrook with my dad in the early 50s. I'm aging myself. Malvern and West Hempstead were potato and cabbage farms. Lynbrook had 3 local food stores, Bohack's, A&P and Food Fair. That's not my phone.
Hold on. Yeah, well, his time isn't up yet, John.
We had 2 movie theaters, 2 butcher shops, several jewelry and clothing stores, one which still remains, Merle's. What happened? It's called change. The same homes still remain in this beautiful village, but the downtown is evaporating. As the past president of the Lynbrook Chamber of Commerce and current director, I have witnessed many lost opportunities over the last several administrations. The success of downtown needs the support of both the residents and the commercial owners. We cannot endure the failure of all these sectors that seem to be heading to the auction block, and it's happening. I saw a quote that I think is very apropos here. Some succeed because they are destined to it, but most succeed because they are determined to it. Good luck, Mayor, in the future. Thank you for your time.
Polly Talbot.
Good evening, Mayor.
Good evening, Polly.
And the board. My name is Polly Talbot. We already established that. I live in Lynbrook, and I'm the owner and director of A La Carte Cooking School on Atlantic Avenue. Some of you might know me because I've enjoyed hosting many events on Lynbrook TV for almost 20 years. I'm on the board of directors for the Lynbrook Chamber of Commerce, and I served as president for 2 years. My son, his wife, and my adorable grandkids also live here. My son and daughter-in-law both graduated from Lynbrook High School. In fact, their class was our inspiration for our first prom night in the year 2000. They moved to and lived in Forest Hills because there were no nice apartments here in Lynbrook for them. Shortly after my grandson was born, they bought a house here. I feel very fortunate to have them close, and you can understand why Lynbrook is so important to me. The rest of that speech was for another night. But as I was filing it in my computer, I found another speech that I wrote May 24th, 2005, when I was the president of the chamber. And I'd like to read it to you tonight. Lately, we've had a little controversy that would be difficult to ignore tonight. Communications are difficult in any relationship. Couples, parents with their children, friends, employees, employers, board members of the chamber. We can't even decide when to have our Christmas party. Board members of villages, the state, the whole country, the entire world. So it comes as no surprise that our entire village is in the midst of a major communication breakdown. Lynbrook is facing several important issues that must be addressed. Our taxes are rising, parking spaces are at a premium, there is no affordable housing for our children as they become adults, and many parts of our village are deteriorating. We require some revitalization. This must be done to maintain the high standards we all deserve and have come to take for granted. But we all know that this revitalization is critical to all of us. It must be approached with all of our needs in mind. The young families, the empty nesters, or the wannabe empty nesters, the elderly, the singles, everyone. We must keep talking and listening to each other. This is why the Chamber invited not only our entire membership, but anyone from the village to an open board meeting with both developers interested in putting hotels in Lynbrook. This was 2005. This is why the Chamber, along with Mayor Scarpato, encouraged the developers to hold their own open forum meeting for all village residents. We need to listen to the facts straight from the people who have them and keep talking amongst ourselves. We cannot close our eyes to progress. It's inevitable and it's positive, but we want it to be what we need and what we want. Compromises must happen, but regardless of the outcome, Let's face these challenges as a community with respect and concern for each and every person. Let's not lose out on good things in this village because we are closed-minded or listening to only one person. Let's take the hostility out of it, treat each other with respect, and stop bickering and attacking. Negative attitudes and closed-mindedness will get us nowhere. We need to remember our manners and maybe to remind some people to remember theirs.
15 seconds.
We are all in this together. Okay, let me go down to the end. We need to remember that to have the quality in life of Lynbrook that we want, we have to be progressive and keep up with the times without destroying the wonderful sense of community we all now enjoy. I'm feeling a little deja vu as I see what's happened here now, but I think it's important that we all keep talking and work together.
Antonella Tavella.
Hi, Mayor Board. My name is Antonella Tavella. I'm a resident, Graham Road, Lynbrook. You mentioned several times this evening that you've listened to the residents. So I want to ask, in what manner did you listen to the residents?
Closer. Closer to you. Yeah, so help her, please. Thank you.
You mentioned several times this evening that you've listened to the residents. So may I ask, how have you listened to the residents?
Listen to the residents?
Mm-hmm.
Well, have you spoken to me? Have you spoken to me? Have you ever said anything besides the incident that you had at your house?
I'm not talking just about me. I'm talking about the residents. Everyone on the board
anybody
said.
who asks me a question or asks for information, I'm there. I will help anybody in this village.
Have you reached out to the school board to find out their concerns about the apartment complex?
Yes,
Has anybody on the board?
I have. Are you going to let me speak?
Sure.
Okay. I have spoken to the superintendent, and she did not want to speak about it because she's overseen by the school board. I've spoken to Bill Belmont also.
Can you share with us their concerns?
I think I'll let Mr. Belmont share it with you.
Okay. What about, has anyone spoken to Grace Play School?
I have.
And can you share their concerns with us?
They had concerns about the project.
Can you be specific?
No, they had concerns about traffic and other parking in the area because they used that parking lot.
And what about St. James Church?
St. James Church? Yes, I spoke to Todd Slattery.
Can you share their concerns with us?
His
As residents, we would like to know what the other concerns are.
I think you should talk to Todd. Todd's concerns were similar to the play school because they were worried about parking.
Has anyone reached out to the Lynbrook Community Alliance to find out what their concerns are?
Oh, I have not.
Well, I am the leader of the Lynbrook Community Alliance.
And have you reached out to me?
Several people on...
Have you reached out to me?
No, I haven't, but several people
When you had... When you had a situation on your block, I immediately helped you when you called this office. You reached out to me. I made sure the police were there, the chief was there, and we resolved the situation within a week. Was it a week? Was it less than a week? That the police took care of it. You reached out to me, I helped you. If you would have reached out to me, I would have loved to have a conversation with you.
We have been attending the past few board meetings to try and speak with you and to try and speak
You have never
during
come
good
and
wealth.
approached me. You have never said, can I speak to you? Never. You've come into that back room and sat there. You didn't even say hello to me. Reach out?
I'm here now. I'm here now,
Okay,
so I'd
and
like
I'm
to know...
speaking to you.
So, okay, so I would like you to hear our concerns.
You want to hear you want to tell me your concerns?
Sure.
Go
So
ahead.
for
Go right
about
ahead.
a month and a half, we've been going door to door to speak with the residents, and many residents were unaware about the apartment complex, and a lot of them were very concerned, and we're bringing their concerns to our attention. So we're here, and we want to be heard.
Got
We have over 2,000 petition signatures.
The project has been canceled. I hear your concerns, and I relayed them to the board. We made a decision. We canceled the project without a date.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Stephen Wangle.
Good evening, Mayor Beach,
Good evening.
Deputy Mayor Becker, trustees, village attorney, village administrator, good evening. My name is Stephen Wangle. I'm a business owner here in Lynbrook for the past 11 years, and I have family roots that go back in Lynbrook over 30 years. I, like everyone else, want to be cautious about moving forward with any major development to ensure its use is not only suitable for our village, but works to advance the synergy of moving Lynbrook forward. Make no mistake, this village must move forward to compete economically with other towns on the island that have embraced development. I am pleased that the village decided to reevaluate the appropriateness of the Cornerstone project and ensure it is an appropriate scale for our village. In doing my research at the Cornerstone, I saw that there were other properties in the same immediate area that are not included in the Cornerstone proposal, but were recently sold. Specifically, the houses that face Forest Avenue from Stouderman to St. James Place, and one piece of property that sits between two of the properties involved in the Cornerstone project. They appear to have been purchased by companies owned by somebody named Bradford Mott. An internet search of Mr. Mott shows that he is another developer, perhaps interested in another type of development. Does anyone know about these sales and the intended use of the properties?
Well, since that's a loaded question, and since that question's designed towards me, I will answer that. And yeah, indeed, those properties were owned by my dad, who passed away, and we had recently sold them. So Mr. Mott had purchased them.
Okay, that confirms, but it doesn't answer my question. Do we know what Mr. Mott wants to do with the property?
To the best of my knowledge, he buys and he holds. That's to the best of my knowledge.
All right, so there's a clear
But you'd have to
line
call him, and you should really speak to him yourself.
All right, I
Yes, no.
definitely will do that, thank you. Now, given that one of the properties that was sold sits in between two properties that up until very recently were involved in the Cornerstone project, is there any conflict in the fact that the properties are kind of intertwined?
I'm not sure, but the question is, Ben?
I don't necessarily understand the question.
All right, specifically, the Cornerstone project, which would have been Parking Field 8, seemed to have been tied to the property at 14 St. James Place, and I believe it's 20 St. James Place and the properties on Forest Avenue. They're exactly that. They're intertwined. One seems to go around the other, and I'm wondering if these two projects move ahead, if there's going to be any conflicts there.
Well, I mean, based upon the application that was previously before this board that has been canceled, my understanding is that the applicant was intending to proceed forward without the acquisition of those two properties. So in short, the answer to your question, I guess, is no, based upon the applicant's willingness to proceed with the previously noticed project.
Okay, thank you very much. Then any other questions, I should refer to Mr. Mott's companies and see if he can share with us what his intended use is. Thank you for your time.
Kathy Bean.
Hello, Kathy Bean, Taft Avenue. If you don't know where it is, it's down blocking Taco Bell. I have to say that. The police are always great because I call them quite a bit. But I'm here today. What I wanted to speak about, I guess I can speak about. So listening tonight to a few things, as far as being heard or listened to, I've been coming to these board meetings for 35 years. I've been a resident of Lynbrook for 58. I joined the Lynbrook Fire Department as an EMT after 9/11. I've served on a Lady of Peace basketball coach. I've been taught religion there. I also sit on the community chest. I do not always see eye to eye with Chief Neve. We've had many discussions back and forth.
Or many other people.
Yeah. You know, but I've always held him in respect, as he has of me. As far as everybody on the board, I know all of you. I've known Hillary. Oh, you missed it, Chief. I just gave you a shout out.
Was it a good one?
It was a good one. Hillary, I've known my whole life.
Yeah, we go back to second grade.
Yeah, second
St.
grade.
Raymond's.
And
You toughed it out. I didn't make it.
I
I didn't make it
know.
past third grade.
But our families
You toughed it
are,
out.
Yeah, intertwined all, you know, our whole lives. And I have to tell you, Hillary, seeing you on the news today kind of scared me a little bit. I didn't know where you were going with this, to see signs that were corrupt. For 58 years now, I just told you how old I am. I've lived in Lynbrook, and for 58 years, I've never known this village or anybody here to be corrupt. Have I agreed or disagreed? Absolutely. Did I sign the petition against this? Yes, I did. But that was because of the size of it, not because of the builder, because I researched him, and he has done nothing but brought villages up to par. And I have to tell you, it was just for the size of it. I stand behind the mayor and this board on their decision to put it aside until future. I hope that you can all agree with it. And I have, oh, just so you know too, that hockey ring, I put a petition in for a skate park. So see, we don't always get what we want in this village, but sometimes the better outrules, and it did. Kids don't really skate park over by Jamaica. Now it's not even Jamaica anymore, whatever it is, the Bastilli building. So, and the movie theater, when Mayor Beach was running for trustee, I asked him, what's his stand with this village? And he said he wanted to revitalize the movie theater. Thank you very much, you stood up for that. And tonight, I heard the magic words for the Capri. So you promised, you did what you promised to me. And that I applaud you. Great job. I sat here today and I sat here tonight, and I realized I have two last questions. Mayor Beach, will you be running again for mayor this March?
Yes, I will.
And Deputy Mayor, will you be running in March?
Excuse me?
Deputy Mayor.
I haven't really made up my mind yet, so.
Because
I couldn't say yes, I
this-
couldn't say
it's-
no. I wouldn't say yes, I wouldn't say no.
All right,
There's
because
just-
a lot of,
there's no
I just
decision.
hope that this won't be the future of what I see for the village, of people saying that people are, deceitful. I wish you both luck, and I wish the whole board and everything, and I hope to see more developers coming to Lynbrook. I hate it that I'm still looking at that stupid feather factory. Thank you.
Kathleen Cobby.
Good evening. My name is Kathleen McDonough-Cobby. I've been a resident of Lynbrook since 1982, shockingly. I just want to say I appreciated all the documents regarding the Cornerstone property that were put onto the village website, and also the disclosure forms. Well, I like the idea of the Cornerstone, and I think we do need something like that in this village. I agree that it was too big, and I'm glad you all agree as well. I do have one question. I need to know, Trustee Becker, why you did not answer your disclosure form as asked, that you put in, I think, about 9 questions. Why didn't you just answer the questions straight out? I found it interesting.
I believe I answered the questions. I mean, the letter then speaks for itself. I had other questions in addition to the questions that were asked to me. And whatever questions I did answer and I didn't answer, you know, if the questions that I had asked got answered, then I was willing to answer the rest of the questions.
Were they answered, your questions?
No, my questions were not answered.
And you
Neither
did
was
not
mine.
answer all?
Neither was mine.
Yeah. Okay, good point. I guess I'm just concerned, especially today, seeing you on TV with the group, that that you were, it seemed to be you're the driving force behind that group, which was my suspicion, and now it's confirmed. And I'm just sorry that you chose to be secretive about it. Why weren't you out front right from the start? That's all I
I am not a member of the Lynbrook Community Alliance, but like every resident here, I listen to everyone's concerns. The Lynbrook Community Alliance has had, numerous concerns that, they've presented to me over the past several months. Not just the Lynbrook Community Alliance, many groups. I'm not involved in any group, and I think, as Ben had suggested, I would be jeopardizing, I'd be creating legal jeopardy if I took sides. So I've tried to remain neutral as best as I possibly could. I will agree and admit, like everyone else here tonight, I've had major concerns about this project, but I was willing to hear what the developer had to say at some point in time. Those meetings were canceled, and that's why we're here tonight. And
And you don't think being outside with that on TV talking about the village with those signs was going against the village or being deceitful if you weren't putting it out there ahead of time?
No, I mean, I'm trying to hear the voice of the people. The Lynbrook Community Alliance, everybody here has a right to speak, and I will listen to everybody. And that's what I was there. And if you heard what I said today, I said, I'm here to listen to the people. That's what I was there.
I did hear what you said.
I was there listening to the people. I mean, I could have stayed at home, but I came down and I wanted to hear what the Lynbrook Community Alliance had to say. They were concerned.
Rosemary Curran.
Good evening, Mayor. Good evening, Board. Thank you for the opportunity to speak this evening. For those who don't know me, my name is Rosemary Curran. I'm a citizen, taxpayer, homeowner, mother of 4, and the wife of the former mayor of Lynbrook, Brian Curran. Originally, I was planning on coming down tonight to hear the public hearing on the Cornerstone to find out all the information about the proposal. After I was told that the public hearing was canceled, I still decided to come down here because I wanted to commend you, the mayor, and the board on how professionally you have conducted yourselves as anonymous and cowardly flyers and mailers have been sent out to the residents throughout this process. And this will be the first time I'm actually taking the mic, so you know how much it means to me to come up here. Regardless of the proposal, which I agree was too big, the actions of some to lie and to misinform residents in the past 3 months was appalling. Creating a circus atmosphere that hasn't been seen down at Village Hall in 12 years. The one thing I know is that the residents of Lynbrook are far too smart to fall for this. We elect Village Board to do exactly what you did in this case, attract developers to Lynbrook in the hope of reducing the tax burden on our families. And if a project isn't a good fit, deny it like this board did with the Cornerstone. But to do so only after all of the information and the facts are obtained. That's what we want our board to do. That's what we put you there for. And that's what we'll hold you accountable to. For the individuals who sent out anonymous letters and mailers, I have just one question. Instead of lying about information, tell me what your solution is. How can you make Lynbrook a more affordable place for my children to grow up in? Because families are struggling, and only real and serious solutions will provide that relief. Holding a protest to oppose an already rejected application or provide false information in the hope of fearing residents are not real or serious solutions to the problem of high cost of living in Nassau County. Lastly, and this is where you were worried about me before, this is very personal to me, and my husband's going to kill me for kind of saying all this, but I had to kind of put it all down. The lies of this proposal were not only confined to the board. Can you imagine your children picking up the voicemail at your house and getting a robocall with an ignorant, erroneous, and disgraceful content that was sent out to every Lynbrook Village resident that my husband was in support of the Cornerstone project, stating that he is corrupt, that the board is corrupt. Let me tell every single resident of Lynbrook that my husband never, as an elected official or as a father, I can't even get into it. He would never take a position on any proposal because it would be wrong. But regardless, my husband would never give his support to this project. And to the resident who made that robocall, I'm not sure if he's here or not.
15 seconds.
My husband has dedicated the past 12 years of his life fighting for this village and every resident in it, and has accomplished more for this village than any other person that I know. And hopefully you, Mr. Vincent. Shame on you, who never put that robocall together. Shame on you for making it and lying about him, because this is how it affects people. Don't lie. Abide by the Lynbrook rules, right? That's what we should be doing. So it should stop now, people. Thank you.
Phil Martin. Phil Martin. Going once. Phil Martin. Phil's
No
not
Phil.
here. Is that you, sir? No? Okay. Samantha Cohen.
Samantha Cohen, resident. I didn't really prepare anything. I was just going to wing it. I think this whole thing really did get out of hand. I agree with everyone in that.
Samantha, I'm sorry, Samantha.
I have to move closer.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
yeah. Pull the mic towards you.
I
Help her out,
agree
please.
that
Could
this
you
whole
help her?
thing did get out of hand, but I also did educate myself on a lot of things, and I did see that in 2009, that the village adopted a revitalization plan, and part of that plan was for a maximum of a 6-story building on Field 8, and I believe accepting that plan opened up this whole can of worms. And I was just wondering if the village was going to maybe go back, it's almost 10 years old, and look at other solutions than just building, building, building. Because, I mean, that whole thing started, and this developer came in with this petition or this application because it was out there.
Yes, you're right. It was legally, he could apply it.
No, but my question is, are we going to maybe go back and reevaluate the revitalization
We
plan?
could look into it.
Thank you.
Nick Camerano. And I do apologize if I mispronounce anyone's name.
That's why I'm having you do it.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees, residents. I'm just glad I didn't have to follow Mrs. Curran. I'll be brief. You know, you can't go for any project in the village without getting all of the information on it, and to approve it and be in favor for it or against it without the information would be wrong. And in that vein, I went to meetings, tried to get educated, went with an open mind. And went to the next meeting, the one they had at the Elks. And somewhere in the interim, they came out with this flyer. All right? That's the flyer, all right? And I asked everybody there who I knew was associated with this project, who paid for this? Nobody asked me to kick in or anything like that. And nobody knew. So like manna from heaven, this flyer is everywhere. It costs money to print. It sure costs money to mail. All right? So somebody is using village residents as pawns in a ruse because they're not making money. Somebody with money did this because they're not making money and they wanted this project to fail. So I only have 2 recommendations. Don't be a dope and get drawn in by wrong information. And the second thing is the mechanism you use to keep Lynbrook the same should not be the mechanism that's going to destroy Lynbrook and the way we know it as it is. I'm a resident for 34 years, plan on being here. My son lives next door, and that's all I have to say.
Harry Levitt.
Good evening. My name is Harry Levitt. I'm the past president of the Lynbrook Chamber of Commerce. I also own Murley's Men's and Boys in Lynbrook. We've been here for 72 years, second generation, 72 years. I have witnessed Santa coming to town since I was single digits. So, but anyway, just to give you a little perspective on this project, this proposal that was put before the village, I was also the president. When I was the president of the Chamber of Commerce, we started facing many struggles and watching the fabric of the downtown change. Retail was facing an onslaught with the big box stores. So we had decided the downtown was looking scraggly, the light poles were rotted, and we decided, and they were and the sidewalks were broken. So we decided to form a business improvement district. During that time, Woolworths announced that they were going to be closing. And the devastation that was felt on the street, that was our anchor. But we didn't sit down. We decided to move forward. So we started the business improvement district. And during that time, Mr. Giordano helped us write to get a grant for it. I believe, Mr. Becker, Greg, helped us get that grant. So it was a community effort at the time. So we also lobbied the movie theater 20 years ago. It took 20 years for the movie theater to get here. And thankfully, the board saw it through. But one of the things that the chamber did, we had paid for a study. It was a bare bones study about how we should take the business improvement district and the revitalization and which way we should go with it. And one of the things that stuck out was Lynbrook suffered from what many other villages like this have. It's called parking sprawl. Now, this is from an independent study. And what they said was villages like Lynbrook, with the parking sprawl, should consolidate the parking, build up, take the excess properties, and now turn them into an income producer, which is what we see, or what was supposed to have been proposed before the village, which was the Cornerstone project. Now, I can tell you, with this luxury property, with this luxury building, I happen to live in one of those because I'm an empty nester. I decided to downsize, but I want to stay close to the community. And there are many people like myself that live in a community just like this, one town over. And they're from the area, and they've downsized. So, not just this project, but the village has to be open to projects like this because they're happening across Long Island. And the beauty of projects like this is that it sort of centers around train stations. Lynbrook is a hub village. It's serviced by 2 major train lines. Our children have no place to go when they get out of college. They don't want to live in our basements. They don't want to live in the basement of somebody else's house. Okay? These are nothing but higher income, socially responsible people that live in these type of apartments. So I implore the village to keep an open mind, and when projects like this come before everybody, to at least listen. Get the facts. Don't listen to hearsay and naysay and listen to rumors and innuendos, but get the facts from the person that's doing the proposal. These people were denied their chance to speak before the public. The public was denied their chance to ask this developer
15 seconds.
what's going on and to get an honest and upfront answer. All I want to say is, in the future, there may be other projects before this board. Just keep an open mind. This is the wave of the future. Look across Long Island from Glen Cove all the way out. These type of projects are taking hold, and they've been positive for every community that they've been in. Thank you very much.
Laura Ryder.
I'm sorry, I'm done.
Sean, would you like someone else to keep the clock?
Oh, what is it, 4 minutes? Did she just say he needs a teenager?
There are 10-year-olds in the house.
All right.
We're good? Hi, good evening, Mr. Mayor, Board of Trustees. My name is Laura Ryder. I live on Pearsall Avenue in Lynbrook for my entire life. Never left Lynbrook. I have, myself, my husband, have been very active in our community, including my family and also my husband's family, whether it be in public service, volunteering, the fire department, coaching, you name it, the Ryders and the Ledwiths have covered it all. I felt compelled to come here tonight to stand before you, Mr. Mayor, to say thank you. Thank you for a job well done. You are a man of integrity. You are a man who takes your job seriously and always, on every issue, no matter how big or how small, always has had the best interests of the village in mind. And I want to thank you for that. I am proud to call you my friend, and I am proud to stand behind you and support you, because all of the decisions that you have made affect me and affect my family. They affect my friends and they affect my neighbors, people that I care about and people that you care about. And your intentions are always good. And Hillary, when I saw you on the news today, I was so disappointed to see you standing in front of a group of people that had posters that said, "Stop the corruption in Lynbrook." I consider all of you on the board friends of mine. However, your family and my family probably go back the longest. Your father and my father gone back decades. My father speaks of your father as one of the greatest men he has ever known, and his name is here. And for you to get up there publicly and say that your colleagues that you've worked with so many years, alluding to the fact that they are corrupt, it broke my heart. It really, truly did.
I appreciate your feelings, but that's not what I said. But I appreciate your feelings.
You were with them. You were standing with them, before them, as their spokesperson. This is what it looked like on TV. The viewer at home, that's the way it came across.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't say that, but I appreciate your feelings.
Well, everyone, I guess, could make their own decision based on what we've seen on TV. But in any event, thank you, Mr. Mayor. And one other comment, if I could comment to our chamber. These are the hardest working, most generous people ever. I have been involved in so much fundraising, you can't even imagine. These people get hit over and over and over again to make donations for so many wonderful events. And they always give. And it's unfortunate that we do have empty stores downtown. And it's their livelihood. And they support us. They support our church, they support our schools, they support everything. We need to support them, and they're saying they need development to keep their businesses alive. Let's give back to them as they've been given to us all these years. And thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for all that you do for Lynbrook.
Giacopelli.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Board of Trustees.
Good evening, Nicole.
My name is Nicole Giacopelli.
Nicole, just bring it, they'll bring it towards you.
Thanks.
Harry might hit you with it.
I live on Pearsall Avenue, and I've lived in Lynbrook for almost 20 years. My husband, Robert, has been in the neighborhood for 54 years. That's his age, yes. 30 of those as a Lynbrook resident. We started in our neighboring town of Malvern and have always considered Malvern and Lynbrook to be special places to live and raise a family. My husband and I always say to ourselves as we sit on our front porch, take a bike ride into town with the kids, grab a sandwich at the Lynbrook Deli, or attend Mass at Our Lady of Peace. Where can you go where you know so many people and feel such a sense of community? Lynbrook is where. Lynbrook is a generational village where a lot of our family and friends and their children continue to live. This is the way it has been for decades. We would love to see our boys be able to have the same opportunity we had growing up in the neighborhood. Sure, Lynbrook has changed over the centuries from a little general store at the Five Corners to a farming community, a recreational town for the urban dwellers, to a thriving suburban community it is today. Our amazing little village has always been there when we need them. Our police department, fire department, and Department of Public Works is the best of the best. Our village board and our mayor, Alan Beach, is one of a kind. Alan has not only been a great mayor, but he has also been a good friend, a welcoming neighbor, and a supporter of our family. The mayor has always supported our boys and their lemonade stand up to cancer sale, which raises money for awareness, and he has helped my husband with the Our Lady of Peace Fathers Club, which is a group of men who volunteer and donate their time and money to the parish. He has always been there when we need him. He is one of the most compassionate and inclusive people that we have ever met and keeps us aware of village issues through open community discussions. Our location to so many attractions and our small businesses are what makes us special. We would love to see the village continue to grow and keep up with the adjoining towns. I know that our mayor and the board is here to do what's right for Lynbrook and what's right for the residents. We all have something in common. That's our zip code. For future generations to be able to enjoy Lynbrook as we do, I would like to quote one of the greatest visionaries of our era, Walt Disney. We keep moving forward, opening new doors and doing new things because we're curious, and curiosity keeps leading us down new paths. Thank you, Mayor Beach and the board, for all you do, and thank you for listening.
Lawrence Swing. Lawrence Swing.
Good evening, everybody. I just want to say that this is one of the greatest places to live is in Lynbrook. And every time you stop everybody on the board, and even former people that work, they always answer a question, they're honest with you, you could always tell them how you feel. And I really appreciate what everybody's done in the past and what they're planning to do in the future. I just would like to say everybody should have an open mind. We all got to get along, agree to disagree on everything. And even with the residents, we should all talk to each other and respect one another. And on that note, I just want to say thank you for the hard work that you all do, and have a nice evening.
Frank Orzo.
Good evening, Mayor Beach, trustees. Thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to speak to you tonight. My name is Frank Orzo. I've been I've been a resident of Lynbrook for 42 years, and I love Lynbrook, USA. And I've seen many great things, and I want to continue to see our village grow and prosper. And I want to give a special commendation to your comments about keeping our community together, the Chamber of Commerce. All these comments are very positive and will help our community grow. The thing that I like, of all the good comments right tonight, I forgot your name? Oh, Michael. Michael said he recommends, or the Chamber recommends, putting a blue chip commission together. Commission? Blue ribbon. Blue chip. Blue ribbon. Blue ribbon. Blue chip. Commission? Panel? One of those groups. And, but what I liked about it is that it's inclusive. The village trustees, the business owners, like Harry here. I got a beautiful tuxedo in your store. Thank you very much. And the residents, inclusive. Now,
I didn't care for some of the comments that I heard today about corrupt. That bothers me. And I actually asked someone about what did that mean? Could you back that up? And I got a comment that I thought could back it up, but it wouldn't have been a choice of words I would have used. So it's unfortunate that some of those things were said. The flyer that Nick showed about fear tactics, it's unfortunate too that that was sent out. But it might not have been sent out had there been more inclusiveness about this project in an open forum, which I found out really through the grapevine. And I walked the neighborhood with petitions, and I'm proud of my petition on my flyer. There was nothing corrupt or untoward in that flyer that I gave out. I can show it to anybody if they want to see it. And 90% of the people who answered the door said they were opposed to the project as constructed. So I applaud you, Mayor Beach, and trustees for pulling the application, but I'm not sure if it would have been pulled had efforts like Antonella and others on the Lynbrook Community Alliance did not voice their opinions. I think the effort and the impetus to pull that project came from the residents and not from the board. I appreciate the board listening to us, but it took a while to get that voice heard. And finally, and thank goodness it was heard. Thank you.
Tony Holder? What's that?
She's passing.
Pass, okay. And then I apologize if I get this wrong. A. Mendola? They left? Okay. Alan Pileski?
Thank you. My question's been addressed.
Okay. Jenny Atkinson?
Hi, everyone. Mayor, Board, Trustees. My name's Jenny Atkinson. I also live on Pearsall Avenue. We have a strong representation today. I just want to say, Mayor Beach, thank you so much. Thank you for all the progression that you've given to our village. One of the best things that I did about 2 weeks ago was spend some time in our downtown, and I saw the movie theater and how much it flourished the downtown. And then when I walked outside, I heard the music playing, and it was absolutely beautiful. It was just such a nice touch, but such a touch of class and fun. And one thing that I walked away thinking was, wow, Lynbrook's really cool. We're on the beginning of something really great. So all I can ask is that you continue to listen. I hope that all this negativity that went on with this last project doesn't deter you from keeping an open mind, because personally, I want to see development. I want to see our seniors have a place to go, or the millennials go to a beautiful high-rise luxury apartment. To me, that's progression, and I just ask you to please keep an open mind. Thank you.
Ann Hughes?
Good evening. My name is Ann Hughes. I'm relatively new to Lynbrook, having moved here from Ireland in 2011. My husband grew up in Lynbrook, and when the time came for us to move back to America, Lynbrook was our first choice to set up our home and raise our 2 sons. Lynbrook is, and always has been, a great village in which to live and raise a family. While Lynbrook started off as a small farming community of 40 families, the Lynbrook of today is a community of families, residents, and business owners that are fortunate enough to have our own elected mayor, board of trustees, our own police department, volunteer fire department, and Department of Public Works. My understanding is that one of the many responsibilities of our elected mayor and trustees is to review and consider any commercial plans to build or renovate within the village of Lynbrook. This is one of the roles that they were elected to perform. Having a mayor and a board of trustees that are willing and open to review the potential possibilities of new developments in our town to help revitalize our downtown and to help enhance our village is frankly refreshing and what our village needs. Many towns and villages here on Long Island are undergoing revitalization. Just look at Patchogue, Bayshore, Westbury, Farmingdale, just to name a few, to help families, individuals, and business owners that reside and are invested there to have the home and neighbourhood that they love. I want to thank you, Mayor Beach, for all you have done and will continue to do for Lynbrook. Thank you for always putting Lynbrook first. Thank you.
Michael Silverstein.
How you guys doing? So I am a very proud union construction worker in New York City. I've been a part of a lot of development that's happened in areas that definitely could have used development. I've watched them go from places you didn't want to walk through to places where a lot of people come and visit now. I think the difference that I see between those places and here in Lynbrook is that our residential area doesn't need much development. I think attracting people to our town, like bringing in a movie theater, which I wish was union built and maybe would have been finished sooner if it was, but that's another comment. Maybe providing parking like every other town has along the Long Island Railroad on Sunrise Highway, metered parking. I think if we maybe thought about doing our own metered parking instead of looking for a handout from a developer, I think if we called up some union shops, they could knock out a parking structure, maybe of smaller size, metered, that would generate as much, maybe more revenue than the $500,000 that was proposed by this project. I think if there's a surplus of money generated from those parking lots, it can go to the schools and it can go to other things in the community to help. It could maybe go to some of these business owners. I try and support as much local business as I can. I just the other day found some lady on one of these Facebook pages who's starting a dog biscuit company. So I called her up, I bought a bunch of dog biscuits, I told my family about it, I told everybody it was in Lynbrook, a friend of mine's a vet in California, we sent some dog biscuits, right? That's the next step. So, sorry, I get a little caught up sometimes. I think introducing some responsible contractor language and apprenticeship language into any future building projects going into Lynbrook would be the responsible thing to do for the board. This way you don't enter into these fiascos like waiting for a movie theater to open up for years past its due date. Like I said, I've been a part of a lot of projects that reshape the skyline of the 5 boroughs, and typically the union projects finish close to or on time. They're safer. There's statistical data you can look at. We've encountered a lot of deaths in New York City in construction over the last few years. A lot of my neighbors are union construction workers. If you want to support the town and support the way we live our lives and support ourselves, I think introducing that would be a great idea. I'm also going to start posting on these Lynbrook parent pages. I didn't do so well in school growing up, right? School wasn't for me. I went to Nassau for 2 years, and then I decided to start trying to work 2 full-time jobs while going to school full-time. I fell into a union job, and it's the greatest thing that ever happened to me. It provides me with health insurance, a pension, an annuity, and a lot of other benefits that a lot of other people who don't have union jobs won't have. I'm going to start posting these apprenticeship openings on these pages so that you don't need affordable housing, you need a proper wage paid to the young people that are coming up that maybe can buy. I was lucky enough to have a union job that allowed me to buy a house in Lynbrook at 27. So it was a lot of hard work, but it does work, and it's a proven system. And I think just waiting for developer handouts are just not the right move when, developers employ me, right? So I can't hate them completely. But
I'm sorry, and I don't mean disrespect. Would you just pull the mic a little? No, towards you.
Oh, I just think that introducing some union apprenticeship language and responsible contractor practices within our town when it is time to build something would help that process happen much more fluidly.
Okay, so, thank you.
Pat Vitola? Okay. Patrick Curran? Well, I would just like to first off congratulate Mr. Curran on his and his team's victory this past weekend against Lynbrook Baptist Church, another fundraiser that was done to benefit, again, I think it's the Lynbrook Council of PTAs and Nassau County Operation Wounded Warrior. That's the Firefighters Operation Wounded Warrior. It was a great event to see these two charities in our village come together to help out. And I think, last year the Lynbrook Baptist Church won. Pat whipped his team into shape, and they won this year. So we'll see who wins next year.
Game on for next year.
It was a great game. It was a good game, but I had to leave halftime.
Joy Winetsky? Joy Winetsky? Eileen Herold? Janet Fash?
Good evening. Thank you for all you do. I wasn't going to speak, and then I thought it was important to do so. I've been a Lynbrook resident for the last 20 years. I moved from the Rockaways, and at the time when I moved from the Rockaways, there was empty land, and I made a community garden right across from my house, and I was very active in the Rockaways. And the City Planning Commission, before I moved, I had a meeting, and he said, "What are you worried about? Nothing's going to be built here." And I left, and there's all high-rises around where I moved from. Hipsters have moved in, and food is very important for people in communities. And the Chamber of Commerce, I love to eat in Lynbrook. I love to frequent the stores in this neighborhood. I think I got a little shopping bag from American Express that shops, the small stores. I love Lynbrook. I moved here for the small, quaint town and for the community, and I really love this town. When I saw the news tonight, it prompted me to come here. And what the news is good at doing is just giving little snippets. So it wasn't the whole story. And I didn't get the whole story yet this evening, but the last tidbit they said was that the neighborhoods that have been successful at this smart development of adding, high-rises that give you a lot of amenities. And I was at a concert in Rockaway, recently, and someone from Rockville Center I was introduced to, and I said, what is that Avalon? Is that like a problem? And she said that the community was very against it, and she said, it doesn't seem to be a problem now. And that was just one person that I had asked, but I would ask that going forward, and I thank you for stopping the project, if there's not enough information on an environmental impact study. You are the experts, and I commend you for the work that you're doing, but is there such a thing as an impact study? Are we comparing ourselves to other neighborhoods, the ratio of apartment buildings to homes, to ensure that our neighborhood stays the same? Thank you.
Alan Kelly?
Good evening. It's a little tense in here tonight, so I thought I'd spend my 4 minutes telling some Irish jokes. I have no good jokes. My name is Alan Kelly. My wife Sue and I have lived in Lynbrook for 14 years. We're raising 4 girls. First of all, I just want to thank the board for supporting the trunk or treat on October 28th. The trunk or treat is an alternative to trick-or-treating for kids with food allergies. and we had the most successful event this year. We had more than 40 cars at the event, people traveling from New Jersey and Pennsylvania, so we really appreciate your support for that. It's very important. I guess my comments are kind of moot because there's no proposal at the moment, but my family loves the village and wants to see it thrive. Smart growth is important, and we want to see a thriving downtown, and look forward, hopefully, to seeing a new proposal for development to add to the downtown. No is not a plan. If anyone saw the cover of Newsday today, you would have seen the impact that development can have in improving a downtown area, and we can't be left behind. And that's all I have. Thank you for your diligence and your commitment to the village.
Steve Martinez.
Before I begin, I'd like to make sure Clerk Giordano's phone is in working order. Okay. And there's so many things to say. I really don't know where to begin. I guess I'd like to start by saying, sort of informing everyone that corruption is a big word, it's a very large term, and I believe it's been totally misconstrued and twisted in every sense of the word tonight. The reason, and before I get to that, you know what, let me finish. The reason that corruption is a big word, the reason we're using the term corruption is because this board was prepared to vote unilaterally on the proposal when we were asking for a public referendum, and we were given a lawyer who 17 times, 30 times 2 weeks ago said, I'm not answering any questions, the board's not answering any questions. I think it's pretty corrupt that you want to have the board meeting when we're at the board vote on the proposal when we're the ones asking for a public referendum with no explanation as to why we can't have a public referendum. So that's the corruption we're talking about. Apologies to any hurt feelings, but we're not talking about people, you know, accepting dark money, bribery. So really, it really rubs me the wrong way. So please understand that's the corruption we're talking about before you and all of you tell me how to protest, because that's unacceptable, and I can't believe so many of you have the audacity to do so. Okay? Now, this entire, I'm deeply disturbed by this meeting. This entire night has been a ceremony in image repair and emotional manipulation by a lot of people in here, a lot of people who I'm not sure are aware that this developer is asking us to socialize the cost of developing his project. How do you feel about the development when you know he's asking you to socialize it? Do any of you know that? So, I'm not lying, dude. Well, okay, I have my 4 minutes.
Please address your comments to the board. Do not talk to the person.
Last week, or I mean 2 weeks ago, I was here. I talked about pilot programs, their impact, why I'm opposed to them, and why they're inappropriate. And I want to thank Hillary Becker for being the only person willing to talk about the money instead of the feel-good feelies, because that seems to be all that's going on here. No one knows what the growth to anticipate. There is money on the line. Pilot programs have had a devastating impact on neighboring communities. Green Acres Mall didn't meet its employment targets. There's no recourse, and they have a pilot program. So none of you have talked about the pilot program. You talked about village culture changing, parking, and then, like I said, you had the audacity to admonish us for how we chose to protest. That's due to a lot of ignorance, and I'm sorry to hear that.
In your opinion?
Well, I have another opinion I'd like to share. Quite frankly, like I said, this has been a ceremony in image repair, and I want to say that the way you spoke to our alliance leader, Antonella Tavella, was totally unacceptable, and you proved yourself to be no better than the attorney 2 weeks ago. Why? You bullied her. You brought up something that nobody knows what happened on her block. It's nobody's business, and you made it public record. Unacceptable. So this has been a joke. My worst fear came true. I hope someone besides Mr. Becker and myself is willing to take the financial aspect seriously. Thank you.
Hold up, Mr. Hawkhurst, Trustee Hawkhurst, 1 second. Counsel?
Yeah, I just, two things I wanted to note just to dovetail those comments. I was here on October 15th, Mayor, and I just want the public to be aware of this fact. After I spoke in public and spoke to the procedure and the process, I went out of my way to go into the hallway to find the key people that were speaking about the project, hand them a business card and said, please, in the weeks before the public hearing is scheduled, feel free. That's my number. That's my direct dial. Call me. I will explain the process. I'm happy to do so. No phone call was received in that time. With regard to the pilot program, or the proposed pilot that this gentleman speaks of, one thing you may not be aware of is that this village board, in review of a project that was previously proposed, has the power to enter into what's known as a community host agreement. They have been upheld by the courts, and what this village can do as a condition of any project that was previously proposed is enter into an agreement with that developer to make this village whole with regard to village taxes during the time period and the pendency of the pilot program. So I just wanted that to be out there to the public.
Ben, if I could just to further clarify the agreement that you're mentioning here, that does not include school taxes. That would just be for the village tax.
Well, it would be up to the school district to enter into discussions at the time that they make an application to the IDA for such an agreement.
So the school district would have the same effort in terms
yes,
of...
whoever
review.
represents the school and is the voice of the school district. It wouldn't be appropriate for this board to speak on behalf of the school district, obviously. Thank you.
Trustee Hawkers?
Again, if I get this wrong, I apologize. Leon Valinsky. Leon Valinsky. Okay. We had a duplicate, so we'll pass on that. And then Mary Cox.
Hi. I actually have a request. I actually emailed Alan, Brian Stanton, Mike about the 200 radius map. I also emailed Hillary, and I believe you're Robert. I got a response from Alan, Mike, and Brian Stanton. And my mom owns a house approximately 70 feet from where you wanted to construct a 4-tier parking garage, and she was not legally notified. And I asked why, and I was told because it was for municipal purposes, which is outrageous. I only found out about
Excuse me,
these...
Mary, the code, that's the way the code is written. for
And Brian
municipal
told me
purposes.
that I
Okay.
could request for you to amend the code.
Well,
And that's what I'm doing today.
you're asking to amend the code.
I'm asking for any resident that's within 200 feet of a project to be notified. That is a four-tier parking garage. It's an outrageous. And for her to live 70 feet from there and not know about it.
No, you're
and
right.
I didn't know about any of these public hearings until my mother told me about the lawyer that was here last week who was outrageous to the residents. I'm glad that you fired him. That was the right thing to do. But how? You want transparency and then someone who lives so close is not notified?
I
Alan,
agree.
you came to my house. You told me it was wrong. You told
I
my mother
agreed.
it was wrong.
I didn't think it was right.
not there.
I think it was, I don't think it's right, even though it's municipality land, that the residents shouldn't be notified.
Yeah, of course they should be notified. And I'm asking today, I don't know if you can give me an answer or when you can give me an answer, but it's wrong.
We will give you an answer next board meeting. How's that?
That's fine. You can email me as well.
We have to get...
And that's all that is signed up.
That's it?
Yep.
Is there any other comments?
All right.
We're good? Excuse me? Sure, sure. Okay,
My name is Cynthia Dombrowski. I live on 109 Earl
Okay.
Avenue. So I moved here. My sister, my brothers, all of us live within a 4-block radius of each other. I'm 28, was able to put a down payment on the house and able to buy a house as well. My husband works for Port Authority. I'm a nurse. So living on 109 Earl, I absolutely love my house. I love the property I live on. I'm a little concerned with a parking garage being built down the block because I don't have any parking in front of my house at the moment. The build, what do you mean?
Cornerstone project.
Right. So the Cornerstone project and the parking garage that is being built. At the moment, I feel like I live in Queens. I never have an open parking space, and there are times I have to go to the round-the-block department stores or the aquarium or the wine store and ask them to please not block my driveway. So,
The other point you wanted to bring up was the fact of if this parking lot is being underutilized, can we get the commuters and the people who work around there? I mean, I've gotten to the point where I'm copying down license plate numbers because these people have blocked the driveway. We've called the police department. They've come. They've responded.
they put chalk
They
marks.
issued
they do-
tickets, but it's an ongoing thing, and we don't want to be calling the police department for constantly for parking problems.
You call the police department every day if you
No,
have to.
we-
No, no, no.
Oh.
I'm saying,
It's
call the
not,
pol-
it's
that's
not
why-
in my personality, and I am not going to have, today, it was very nice to see one of the squad cars was down, I heard from the last meeting of speeding down Earl Avenue. Today, there was a car there.
what I'm
Great. If anything, it's an influence to slow down. But the parking problem in that area has got to be solved.
109 Earl near the, how many, where is
It's on
that?
Shipyard,
Okay, so it's 1 block in, 2 blocks in?
it's one
Off
block,
of
one block
Sunrise?
in.
Sunrise Highway.
And
One block
you're
in
saying that
Sunrise
there are
Highway.
people in the neighborhood where
No,
where
it's
they
not
work?
people in the
No, it's
neighborhood.
not neighborhood.
Let me finish, let me finish.
Okay.
The people in the neighborhood that work are parking by your house?
Yes.
And they're, okay.
Yes.
So we do have a 6-hour rule.
Right.
In the village.
Right.
And they will go out and mark the tires or whatever they do and
Right.
monitor the 6 hours.
Right.
And then they give tickets. The issue with that is everybody on the block will get tickets if they're there longer than 6 hours, which that's the law, we get it. Right. Homeowners too will get that. If you need parking signs, speakers, okay, thank you. If we need parking signs possibly for maybe hourly, maybe an hour or two parking, that restricts your parking also.
Right.
But maybe that might be helpful to you to have that. All right. As far as blocking your driveway, when I say call the police, if you have to call the police every day, wait a minute, that's why we have our police department. That's why we have an incorporated village. That's the asset of having that. They don't mind, that's their job. Or you're not supposed to say meter maids, right? The code enforcers. Code enforcers. They'll go and do that. You shouldn't have to do that, but let's send a message that they can't park there, and we'll get it done. All right, 109, Chief, I know you're half foot out the door, but can we give a little more effort down there?
109.
All right, and please, don't think you cannot call. They don't mind. They don't take offense to it. That's their job. That's what we're here for. That's what we're supposed to do.
I'm not saying I don't call the police when the driveway's actually blocked.
Okay.
What I mean is, I am not calling the police department on parking. Each time that it's parked, she's got, for a nice piece of property in Lynbrook, she has 89 linear feet as the frontage of a house and can't park there. That's wrong.
I have
Now,
6 cars
God
in
bless
front
my in-laws, they passed away, but they stopped coming over because they couldn't park. And it kind of hysterical. He was a very funny man, but he shouldn't have to park at the end of Earl and Howard in order to visit his granddaughter.
And those cars are there all day?
All day.
All day.
So an option could be to post a sign parking for only 2 hours or 3 hours.
Then that'd be a good option
That would be
because it's
wonderful.
not the neighbors who park there.
Okay.
Right.
It is not, definitely not the neighbors.
Thank
Go
you.
to the mic, Joe. If you're going to talk, go to the mic.
Thank you.
If you're interested in that, then I would get my neighbors, the whole street. We can't do spot parking. So if you want to get a petition from one street to the next, you're at 109, you're on the corner of Shippard, right? Those are the 2 new houses that were there?
I'm across from those two.
All right. Well, if you're on Earl, and it's the problem's in front of your house, then you would need at least 50% of the people from Shippard to the next intersection, which is,
He's not doing it. I asked him.
I don't recall what it is, Randall or whatever it is. Brower.
Excuse me, Joe. Chief, why don't you go and look at the site tomorrow, come back to me, and we'll evaluate it.
I would put the brave, in the office. Why don't you?
What is this? Speakers that are signed, you want me to say that? Okay.
You or your ex.
Why don't you?
I'd have to ask the
Why don't you-
landlords.
Why don't you
Not-
give me a call tomorrow and see what we can do, all right?
Okay.
Give me a call.
That's the best to do it. Now, we've gone, all the speakers that have signed to speak. Is there anyone else that needs to speak?
Good evening, Mayor Beach. Jeannie Murphy, Peterson
Hey, Jean.
Place.
Hey,
How are you?
Jean.
Thank you, Board, for your service. I don't envy you, but I do appreciate you. I just wanted to put forth the question that Mike Davies touched upon, and you as well, the 2009 plan, which was really a vision concept. Is there a plan to move forward with a proper master plan for downtown revitalization?
We were utilizing the past plan to give us the ideas of how to move forward. As you read the plan yourself, you know there's many things that we can reflect upon at the locations. And one of the locations was that proposed project of the Cornerstone in that area, and also utilizing the parking field 3 as a garage. So we were kind of following the plan as it was laid out. There were some changes that they...
Well, it was really great work, and it's actually page 22 that recommends the next step to do a strategic plan. And that's where we as a community, as a Chamber of Commerce, as the board, our religious organizations can all come together and integrate our input into this. And then you won't see so much discord. And I really feel now, 10 years later, we have to take that next step and do a proper plan.
As I said before, Mr. Davies' idea was a good one, and we will take it under advisement with the whole board.
He's at the level of an ad hoc committee. I really would like to see a proper master plan that will take some budget investment from the board. So we'll look to you to approve that.
Sure.
I know this Lynbrook community will be hands-on. We'll be happy to help.
Mr. Mayor, if I could just also add one thing to that. I completely agree with you. That plan is well over 10 years old, and at the time it was a very poor economy. We were in the middle of the Great Recession, and although I thought that plan was excellent, at least a guideline, something to follow with. I didn't agree with everything in the plan, but I thought it was an excellent idea at the time to have something like that. I would just add, it's very important, the new movie theater now has really changed everything, so it's all the more reason that having a new master plan makes a lot of sense.
Agreed.
Thank you very much. If there's no one else, that's it.
We went through the list.
Okay. I'll make
Yep.
a motion to close. Sure.
Mr. Mayor, Board, thank you. I don't have the good fortune of being able to watch.
You didn't film, right?
No, I didn't. You know
Name
what?
and your address,
It was a last-minute thing, and
That's all right.
it was
Your name
nice
and
to
your
see that a decision
Paul.
was made
Your name and your address, that's all.
It's Paul Solentano, 325 Waverly, East Rockaway.
Thank you.
Part of School District 20, and that was my concern about this project over here. In particular, when I started reading about this pilot program and seeing the benefits that this developer was going to get, it really concerned me. So I got involved. I started listening and hearing what was going on. And I appreciate all of your efforts. I mean, I know you guys all a long time. I don't have the good fortune of living across the street from Ms. Karen over here. But you know, as a School District 20 resident, I think it's important to know that the community, Lynbrook as a whole, encompasses, you know, not just Lynbrook proper, but also East Rockaway and Hewlett Harbor, which are all part of it. So we've been
Malvern also.
A little bit of Malvern also.
And Valley Street.
So we didn't hear anything. And I live right across the street from the Waverly Park School. So when I went to the school board meeting the other night, they seemed pretty much unanimously against the project. And listen, I'm for sensible development. We all are. I mean, we have to move everything, everybody forward. And we've talked about this years ago when we were talking about the hotel coming downtown. But it frightened a lot of people. And then I live right across the street from the school. I'm like, well, are we going to get an influx of traffic? Is anything going to be done? I mean, my question to you is anything going to be done to increase communication with Mayor Weiss or Mayor Bruno in East Rockaway? I happen to have the good fortune of being actually in both. It runs right through my property. But somehow that we could be in the loop because we are in District 20, and is this the responsibility of the school district? Or, you guys and me coming down here? And,
well, maybe we could filter a little bit more through the school district because, Bruno has his business and Mayor Weiss has his business.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. And with respect to the pilot, because that's another thing that's concerned me. And in researching this particular project with Bartone, I saw this Farmingdale project that he put together. It was a lovely building, but he flipped it in 2 years. And I don't want that for my old village. I still consider myself part of the village, even though I'm in a different town.
And he has 2 other buildings there also he still maintains.
Does he still? Okay, I was not aware of that.
That was a concern of mine.
Yeah, because I saw that and I said, listen, I see the opportunity with these pilot programs. The IDA has some issues on the types of jobs that are being brought in, or if any in this case. I no doubt see the benefits that this could bring to the downtown, but it's happy. I'm happy to see that you guys have had the application pulled and having them try to scale this down or something that's a little bit less that will impact the whole the greater Lynbrook community, including East Rockaway and Hewlett Harbor. All right, thank you very much. Have a great Thanksgiving.
Motion.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. My name is Michael Canty. I live on Leicester Avenue. I know most of the board members, and I just want to thank you all for your service. Just as an aside, I was at I have a brother that's a veteran, and although we didn't get a good turnout by the citizens of the village, every single one of you were there. And I know that they'd never come and tell you this, but the veterans of our community really appreciate the support that each and every one of you gives to them day in and day out. With respect to the Cornerstone project, I just want to say that we talk about communication, and I think communication is important. And I was agnostic. I didn't know a lot of information about the project, and I wanted to learn. And it seems like in this day and age, the truth's at a premium. And anonymous flyers on your car when you come out of church, misinformation on the internet, it's not helpful. We're all very busy people. We've got families. We've got a lot of other responsibilities. So when we talk about a new project in communication, I think it's the responsibility of the board to make sure that we have the truth. But it's also the responsibility of us as citizens to make sure that we're not spreading misinformation. Because I honestly believe that you can have an opinion one way or the other. It doesn't make you a bad person. But it does make you a bad person if you lie to your fellow members of the community to achieve an agenda, to name call. It's just not helpful. So I would just say that whatever we do in the future, I think we owe it to each other as a community. Lynbrook is a special place. There's a lot going on in the world. a lot of negativity, a lot of misinformation. But we can make Lynbrook a place where we're going to be honest with one another, where we're going to have an open, honest debate about ideas. We'll disagree, but at the end of the day, we'll know that we respect one another and that we're going to give each other the truth. Because I saw, as an aside, I saw lies told about our assemblymen. Terrible lies. They were personal attacks. And you may agree with them or disagree with them, but that was just wrong. And I don't want to raise my children in a community where we think it's okay to lie about people or lie about information. Agree or disagree, that's fine, but just make sure that we're treating each other with respect. Thank you.
With that, I'll make a motion to close.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you for coming this evening.
Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
Yes.